Okay, so we're back with some viewer tattoos here today, and we have the returning Nicholas, who, I don't know, for the people who have been paying attention to this whole series, Nicholas is one of my favorites and least favorites in the same breath.
Is Nicholas the one that stopped getting tattooed?
He's the one that you were like, oh, it's sad, he stopped getting tattooed. Yeah. And I was like, no, he's not. That's not a thing. Okay. Nicholas is not done getting tattooed. He's been done a few times by my watch, and he should have stopped probably at that Batman Joker thing. But his last tattoo was actually a little bit better. I don't remember exactly which one it was now, but I remember going, this is the best one he has.
Right.
He also had that portrait of his dad as a zombie, where his dad looked disappointed in him. And it was like, couldn't you at least get a picture of your dad where he looked halfway happy?
Maybe his dad always looks like that.
He just looked miserable. And of course, the tattoo photo that they used for the reference was absolutely blurry as fuck and looked like it was taken in a dark room. So it was hard to make anything in his likeness to begin with. But anyway, let's get to what Nicholas has to say this time.
So let's see here. Nicholas says, "Hey Remy, so obviously this whole arm is garbage from when I was 17
at least he's aware of it.
And on drugs. Laugh out loud. I'm just wondering if you think a nature and wildlife sleeve will be able to cover it. Why do people think this? Don't worry, I plan on saving up money and going to an actual professional. I've learned my lesson.
I don't believe that.
Homies tattoo me at their house."
I don't believe that. I don't believe any of that. I don't believe that. But I just remember his story of the Batman Joker thing where he was like, oh yeah, he was the traveling tattoo artist and he was only in town.
In his basement.
And he's only in town for a minute, so he had to do this 12-hour session. It just looked like it was done in a meth lab. I mean, there's some I hadn't even seen in here. Right?
Yeah, I don't remember the Slipknot or whatever this thing
I think I've seen the Slipknot, actually. I think that was one of the first ones he sent in. There's some real doozies in here. These are all great. Holy fuck, man.
So already you have color on this arm.
That looks like it was done or hit with laser a few times.
Oh, yeah.
That one on the back stretch of his arm.
I just don't think, black and gray realism is usually really soft. I just don't think that's going to cover this.
Well, I mean, the thing is parts of it, yes, and then parts of it, no.
Yeah.
Right? Like that thing that looked like it had been lasered. You could put anything you want over that.
Yeah. I just think, instead of, yes, ask us, but I think you should be looking for an artist in your city who's doing really high-level black and gray, but is also doing cover-ups.
I think black and gray is the wrong answer. I think it's opaques, right? Opaques could go over this. Like if you go to Andre Makishi or Mr. Ray's,
I bet
YouTube
you even
channel.
in our area, Behemoth Inc. would be able to do it really
well. Yeah, Rick has done a few opaque cover-ups too, but very rarely because, for one thing, if you're not in it for the long haul, and this guy isn't, as you can see with his tattoos he has already, you need to be patient with that stuff usually. Yeah. Unless you're going to go travel to, like I said, an Andre Makishi type thing. Opaque cover-ups are doable, but they're going to take a while. Mm-hmm. Everything in here looks like I had 5 minutes that day and we smashed this out. So it's hard for me to imagine that Nicholas has turned a corner. He's told me a number of things over the years, and I have disagreed with all of them, and I don't think that he's going to take this seriously or do anything about it.
I think the lesson that Nicholas needs to learn is that you designate one limb.
I don't think that's the lesson he's going to learn.
Shitty tattoos or
I don't think that he's going to learn anything like that. I think that Nicholas continues doing these. Last time he said, or when he said he was done getting tattooed, he said he wished he never started. He's just going to black out his sleeves and be done with it. Now he's talking about nature realism. But there was also a time when he randomly messaged me some garbled thing about wishing blackout was cheaper and not understanding why it's expensive.
Oh, jeez.
So I just think this is going to continue this way because any half-decent artist that's going to cover this is going to cost quite a bit. And, when you're only coughing up around $32 at a time, and you can only do these
Just
small
a bunch
sessions.
of shop minimums.
Well, I mean, I don't know about shop minimums. I mean, I think this is like beer money minimums.
I'll give you a case of Pilsner.
Yeah, that's more the flavor of this sleeve and everything else he has. So I just don't think that Nicholas is ready to make that change yet. And I think some of these are newer than we've been led to believe,
that 420
too.
looks pretty fresh.
Some of these are like, these weren't here when I seen his arm.
Is that supposed to be Jesus?
Yeah, probably.
Oh my
But
goodness.
like, now bear in mind, I think the first time I heard from Nicholas was getting on close to 5 years ago. So like, you know, maybe he said he was 17. He's probably like early 20s now. You can change in that time, but I think some of these are fairly new. So I think he's literally still doing these things. I think some of these are as new as of just a few weeks ago, and so it's not likely. And by the way, if you are planning on covering these at some point, stop getting more of them.
Yeah.
Because like I said, there are more of these than I recall being here last time I seen his arm. So, yeah, stop making the problem worse. Although, selfishly, I hope he makes the problem worse because
love it.
these are hilarious. And I do love, as much as I sound like I hate this guy, I actually do enjoy Nicholas. He's probably one of my favorite regulars.
Well, and
Or my favorite. He could be my favorite.
You love bad tattoos.
I do love bad tattoos, and so my mind is like set that he keeps getting these, and please keep
Like,
sharing them.
If I ask you right now on my body, what is the best
It's
favorite
Frank.
tattoo? And I wouldn't necessarily say it's a bad tattoo.
It's way better than the one you just got.
It's my weirdest tattoo.
It's pretty bad. Like, it's pretty bad technically and very strange artistically.
I think it's just strange artistically.
No, it's pretty bad in places too.
Could
But
be
like, you
worse.
can see promise in him, right? Like you can see that tattooer can get better.
Well, that tattooer is better.
Yeah, like
way better.
there's nothing in that one that's like, oh, you can't fix.
No.
It's
The lines
just-
are solid.
It
and
was
stuff
an
like
it
that.
was like an Apprentice goofy tattoo.
It
right?
was.
And it's got a lot of character.
So should we?
Dear Lemmy, I loved this one right away. I was like, man, I gotta feature this.
Lemmy.
Dear Lemmy.
Dear Lemmy.
I understand it's a typo, but it's just so fucking funny.
Right.
Just call me George.
So
Ephemeral George.
this person, they say, my name is Vass, and I'm an apprentice under CVAC. I hope I said that right. I've been tattooing little over 4 months now. I mainly want to focus on realism in the future, but who knows? I've included some of my line work tattoos, lettering, finished Hanya, and one of the whip skulls I'm currently working on. The Hanya was done in 2 sessions, and the skull is currently at 3 sessions. But I'm working nonstop on improving. Don't go easy. I want real critique.
So I just will quickly say, like, early on, tattoo apprentices, they like count every day, right? It's like I see it with you guys in here all the time. Like, even when
yeah.
clients ask you how long you've been tattooing,
It's
it's like, well, let's round this up. Like, oh yeah, I've been doing it for this long professionally, but I was doing this thing before
a
that.
lot of it is like
Inspiring
when you tell
confidence.
someone when you say, hey, I've been tattooing for a year, they're kind of like, ugh.
Well, I don't know why that is, because like I say it all the time, but there are some guys that have been doing this for 30 years that can't fucking do anything right. So
I know.
I understand that it makes some kind of a difference.
It just sounds better when you're like, yeah, I've been tattooing. For
Even when
2
you like talk about
years.
Ashlyn though, like, and it's like, oh, well, Ashlyn's been doing this. It's like she's been doing it for 6 months more than you. You guys are still babies.
Yeah.
Like everyone that's been doing this for like, it's like a year or two. It's like that first month or something is worth so much more than.
You just learn so much.
Oh,
so
you do.
quick.
You in anything like.
Especially if you're like in a good apprenticeship where like the artists around you are really good.
I think it's like the first couple years of anything you're doing, you should probably be learning something new every day.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when you've been doing it, and like people will tell you like anecdotally, they'll be like, oh, I still learn something new every day. Like Rick says that. He says like he's like 25 years and he still says, oh, you know, I still learn something new every day.
Yeah.
But it's like the amount of progress you're going to make that far in is going to be very small compared to every single thing you do is new every day. And so I think you have diminishing returns on that. And the only way you can keep those experiences fresh, and this is the same thing in any craft or skill, is like really pushing yourself outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do that when you've done a little of everything.
Yeah.
So-
I was gonna say too, I think for me as like another apprentice, like don't pigeonhole yourself to one style right away.
Yeah, you should try and
Like,
do a little bit of everything.
And this is what this person's doing, and it's good because you don't. The thing is like you're probably good at black and gray realism, but you don't know when you start. Most people don't know what they're going to excel at.
It's also just the case of like when you were color packing yesterday, right? Like you did your tattoo today faster because of that.
Yeah.
Like you absolutely did.
Oh, of course.
And that's just one session.
Yeah.
Because like it's so much easier to do what you did today than it is to do what you did yesterday.
Everything about today was easier.
But like when you come back to something that you might have thought was hard prior, it's like, oh, this is like, even if you don't think of it that day, it's like, this was easier.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like you did that thing in 2.5 hours. It would have took you 4 hours a little while ago.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Let's talk about, I really like this first one. Stylistically, it's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's pretty nice.
I think it's technically nicely done.
It has a nice shape for that spot too.
Yeah, and the lines are supposed to be like this, right? It's got that kind of like a print quality to it.
Here, it's hard to say if they're good with lines or not, though, because when you're bad with lines, thick lines hide all flaws.
Well, like exactly.
It's also hard to judge the quality of the black saturation because it's fresh.
And it's a nice picture too.
Yeah, so like it's hard to say exactly, but overall, I mean, as far as the sizing and the placement goes, it's pretty close to what you want. It all should be a little bit wider and it should be a little bit taller or longer.
But really
there's a
nice.
natural shape, but like you're approximating the right idea here with this placement.
Yeah.
As strange as the imagery is. That is some really smooth shading for someone early in the game.
Yeah, this is really nice. This is why I kind of caught a little peek of this, and I said I'm pretty sure they'll be good at realism. This is quite nice.
That's nice and soft, and you get gradients already. You were really good on gradients right away.
Yeah.
Like your first tattoo you ever did, you hit that like nice soft shading.
It makes sense to me how to do it.
Some people don't get that ever.
Yeah.
Like I see people who have been shading for years that can't get a nice soft gradient, and it's the biggest thing that they struggle with forever.
Mm-hmm.
So like we have in this shop, we have 2 apprentices, and you and Dave, that started around the same time realistically.
Mm-hmm.
And like lining was easier for him than shading.
Yep.
And for you, it was the reverse.
Yeah.
So like I see you capable of doing this fairly quickly. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like it was like, okay, well, realism won't be a problem. And it wasn't.
No.
Right. Even though you didn't really even think that you wanted to do realism.
Oh, I want to do everything.
But
right
like
now,
at the time, it was like when we're pitching you as an artist, it's like, well, it's probably going to be more illustrative. But it just turns out that because you're so good with shading, that realism wasn't really much of a problem.
No, and like for
So
me,
it's not always what you want to do, right?
like this tattoo is super cool. I like what you're doing here. Yeah, your shading is super soft.
This looks like someone who's been tattooing for a while.
Yeah.
That's why I say, like, it doesn't always matter how long you've been doing it.
No.
Right.
And like I think the size is nice for the placement.
Yeah, good sizing again.
Yeah.
Whoever's teaching him is doing a good job, I would say.
Yeah, and then like this is another one too. Like
The lines look straight.
This is clean.
Yeah.
Well, and like so for
Well
me
executed.
as another apprentice, the thing that like, and I've told this to our other apprentice, is when you're doing this style of tattoo, getting these little sharp points at the end of all of this stuff, it's hard. It's not
It also
easy to
makes
do.
a world of difference to do that,
It
though.
does.
Because it makes it look skillful.
It does.
Rather than if these had been hard, thick outs, it would have just looked like you're masking your weakness.
But they're nice, and they come to a good point. It's smooth. It's well done. This is more or less symmetrical in design, which is also really tricky.
Yep.
Like it's just nice.
Yeah, no, this is better than average for 4 months for sure. Especially when you consider what 4 months can be versus what it is here. It's like 4 months can be nothing or it could be everything.
Oh yeah.
Right. This is why I say it's not about the clock, right?
No, some apprentices get this stuff faster than others, and this is another I
This
think
is
really
the
nice
two-session
one.
Hanya.
Yeah.
The black saturation looks good,
Yeah.
and the healed looks good too, because I can tell what's healed and what's fresh.
Yeah.
And I think that Jed's just doing a good job. The design is strange, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, sometimes you don't get to pick kind of what's going on.
There wasn't a lot of chance to show like smooth gradients in this design, but from what I seen from that skull earlier, I would say that that's not going to be a problem. Whoever's apprenticing you, I'm not to take away from your ability, but I think that they've got you on the money. Because again, this is pretty close to the right size too.
And I think you're learning the right stuff.
Yeah, I would say you've got a good future in this, and it's one of the better apprentice applications or submissions we've had here, to be honest with you.
I agree.
And like I say all the time, there's some people who very obviously should have been getting into tattooing. You know, like I always thought you should have been a tattooer a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And then there are people that have no business doing this. And it's very hard, like clients have a hard time seeing that. And with an oversaturated marketplace these days, it's like, it would be nice for some of the people who shouldn't be doing this to start falling away, and for people like this to come into prominence would be nice. So I think everything you showed us is really good, and I'd like to see how you progress.
Yeah, I agree. I think keep doing different styles too, because it's all teaching you what you need to learn.